Hi, everybody. My name is Mariko, and I'm a multimodal therapist and intuitive. Today, I wanted to help you to take a little moment to connect with yourself, to reflect, and to usher in this new year consciously. So, I want to guide you on a little ritual that we can do together that's going to involve a bit of visualization. It's going to involve some reflection on the year that's just passed. And it doesn't even matter if you're watching this later on in the year. We can stop and reflect at any point to move forward more consciously. So, whatever it is you're up to, make yourself a cup of tea. Let's get comfortable. And I would love to guide you through this beautiful little practice that we can do together. Okay, so first, a little bit of an introduction. So, as humans in this day and age, with how fast society moves, we are often pressured to just go, 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 go. And we're just always so busy. And so, a problem that I often see in my practice is that people don't actually celebrate small wins, even major milestones. It's kind of like they just get caught in the hamster wheel of life and the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So there's not enough stillness and pause in our lives to actually sit with ourselves, to hear ourselves, and to reflect and consciously create the future. So, what I mean by this is that if we're just going through the motions, if we're just stuck in that cycle of moving forward, then what happens is we often repeat what we've done and what we're familiar with unconsciously. So, what that means is that we tend to just follow a set trajectory, even if it's not the most constructive one or the healthiest one for us, or even the most desired one. But we kind of get caught and stuck in our own ways, our old ways. And so today, I want to just break that pattern together with you and help you to just pause and just reset. And why this is a really good year, especially to do this, is because in numerology, you may have already heard this, but last year, if you add up all the digits of the year, so 2025, last year that created the number 9. 9 being the end of a 9-year cycle, a year of completion, a year of endings. Doesn't necessarily mean like a physical ending, but it could be the ending of a way of doing things. This year, on the other hand, if you add up all the digits, 2 plus 2 plus 6, 10, which rounds up to 1. And so it's really a new year, a new cycle, the beginning of a new 9-year cycle. And with this comes energy, a lot of energy to help you to birth a new system, a whole new structure. There's a lot of creative, fiery energy associated with this year. And so before starting anything successfully, we need to slow it right down, take a step back, and just pause for a second. We need to actually reflect on what we've just experienced to be able to consciously and constructively begin something new. So this is what I'd like to help you do today. And the thing is, if we don't pause to actually reflect and celebrate the small wins, the large wins, then truly, what is the point of life? I mean, where is the joy in life if we're just always rushing to get the next thing done, the next task complete, the next goal achieved, if we're not actually pausing to enjoy the fruits of our labors, then truly, what is the point? So, I noticed often in my practice working with clients that this can manifest in different ways. It doesn't just manifest in this need and pressure to achieve the next goal and win, but it's also this sort of almost addiction to accumulating. And sometimes that accumulation is really not material, it's intellectual. So, and sometimes I can fall into this trap as well, where I just read so much, or I watch so much, or I'm always just trying to learn more. And while the pursuit of knowledge is not at all unhealthy in itself, that also can get unbalanced, where we're just acquiring and consuming without actually pausing and sitting to integrate. And there's absolutely nothing that becomes useful if it's not had the time to be integrated and processed. So you always need to give the body some time to adjust to the new information. I'm currently learning how to drive at the age of 40. So, hey, anything's possible. But it's even like my driving instructor, I'm like gung ho about it. And I want to take a class every single day. I want to learn. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm really wanting to take these driving classes daily. And he's like, no, I actually recommend max 3 classes a week because your body needs the time to integrate the knowledge. And it's the same thing with the way that we roll in life. We absolutely need to schedule in moments of stillness. I've been saying this for years, into our daily lives, or at least in our weekly lives, and especially in major transitions. So I would really like to instill in you the idea to do this more regularly. So let's do this today. Right. So the first thing that's going to be useful before consciously thinking about how you envision this next year to be is to actually spend some time reflecting on the year that you've just had. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. You might want to get yourself a pencil and a paper if you haven't already done so, just to start thinking about these things. So the first thing I'd like you to do, and it might help if you close your eyes, is we're just going to have a more general macro look at the year you've just had. So to do this, I want you to think about your year as a whole, almost as though it were a chapter in a book where you are the protagonist. So a major chapter in the life story of a book where you are the protagonist. So think about the year you've just had, and you might want to split it into a beginning, a middle, and an end. So the first 4 months beginning, the second 4 months the middle, and the last 4 months the end. And think of that year and see if you can notice any overarching themes. So, for example, you might notice, if you think back at last year, that it was a year of tremendous challenge. So the word challenge might come up. Or you might notice that it was a year of unexpected changes and endings. So close your eyes for a second and think about some overarching themes that span that year. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and maybe take some notes. And you can pause this video now until you finish this first part. Second question: what themes of learnings or experiences do you notice throughout that year? Again, it might be something like, oh, there were a lot of exciting experiences in general that I got to have. Or actually, I noticed that there was a focus on my social interactions and my friendships and relationships. There was a lot of that this year, a sense of community. Again, you can pause this video and take a moment to just really get into this and write down what you notice here. The next question is, do you notice any patterns in your experiences, in the various things that went on last year? Do you notice any patterns? And next question, just complete this sentence. 2025 was the year that blank happened. Being where you are today and looking back at the last year, What can you say you're truly grateful for? Okay. Next question. What were your greatest challenges in your A, personal or inner life? B, professional life? C, social or relational life? Now, this is going to take a little bit longer, so pause this video and just really dive deep in this. These can be small challenges to larger challenges. This can sound anything like, I struggle to say no. I struggle to speak my truth in my friendships. To, I struggle to ask for help. To, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't get enough exercise. If you can really go to town answering these questions, this is where your growth lies. Identifying the challenges that you had, becoming aware of them so that we can prevent them from reoccurring. Okay, so the next question is, what can you learn from these challenges that you faced? And what can you do to better overcome or prevent or manage them in future? And now this is where we're really putting our knowledge into practice. So, what 3 action steps can you take now to best prevent, overcome, or manage those challenges that you faced last year? So, take a minute to really explore this. What could you do? Even if it's a very small step, even if it's, I'm going to start 3-minute daily meditation practice to help me become more uh, regulated in my nervous system, in my emotions. I'm going to start saying no to the very small asks that I feel like saying no to. You know, it can be very small. In fact, the smaller, the better, the more doable and accessible these changes are. Okay, now the fun part. Now, continuing on with this metaphor where you are the writer of this book, where you are the protagonist, I want you to think about this year ahead. Now, as the next chapter of this book, what would you want to see the character that looks like you do? Let's just take a moment, close your eyes, and I want you to really have fun with this next step. I want you to really enjoy this process of visualizing, knowing that the world is your oyster, knowing that the sky is the limit and really there are no limits. In fact, a major planetary alignment that's happening this year is the Uranus-Saturn conjunction. And Uranus represents all of that. It represents dreams, fantasies, greater visions. So this is what we're going to utilize today in this very moment is use this energy to allow yourself to dream big. Okay, so as you close your eyes, really imagine what is it that you want to see this character do? What experiences do you want to see this character go through this year? Have fun with this. Take your time with this part of the exercise. So think about, in what ways would you like to see the character grow? What experiences would you like to see the character go through? What will your character need to go through these growth spurts? So, for example, if you want your character to become more assertive, then what traits, what qualities will this character need to step into more of an assertive role? It could be, for example, courage. It could be confidence. It could be uncompromising values. Just write this down and just go to town with this. Have fun with visualizing this. I mean, the world's your oyster because this is a novel you are creating, right? There are no limits to this. The beauty of this practice, this exercise, is that it really engages your right brain. It engages the creative part of your brain, the part of your brain that, often we don't use enough. We don't need to plan and rationalize and intellectualize everything. Life has to be about exploration without knowing the direction we're going in, without knowing the destination. It can be about just having fun with the journey, having fun with the process of things. So let's do that. And you may really find that you surprise yourself at the end of the year, looking back at your notes that you're taking today to see how much of what you've written seems to come out over the next few months. It might be uncanny, actually, how much of what you've written today manifests into reality. If you enjoyed this video, then I'd love for you to give this a thumbs up. It really makes a huge difference. Subscribe to my channel for more psycho-spiritual insights, and I'm wishing you a beautiful year. Share this with a friend who might need it. Until next time, take care.